Hey guys, I recently asked on Instagram what one thing that you want to learn more about is, and one thing that came up over and over was copywriting formulas. What they are, how you use them, and when you use them in your creative small business. So that's what this video is all about. Lately, I have written a sales page or an email funnel a week at least, if not more, for clients. In fact, we just came off a launch where I helped a client land over $700,000 in affiliate sales, which meant the program creator got $1.4 million in sales. And a secret, I put to work so many copywriting formulas throughout that launch campaign. Now, I've been doing this for over 10 years, so I will say it's taken me about that length of time to really master figuring out when and how to use them. One thing I hear a lot from my students is, do I have to use a copywriting formula every single time I write sales messaging in my business? No. Just like an efficient calligrapher has her Hunt 101 nibs and her blue pumpkin nib, she may opt to put down the nib and pick up a different tool like a brush pen when it comes to creating the artwork for a piece of stationery that she's going to digitize. Same thing with copywriting formulas. You need to know your tools and have them nearby and then choose to use them based on the project you're working on. But if I were starting from absolute scratch or zero when I was working on a project for my own business or for a client's business, it would take me so much longer to put out a deliverable if I didn't lean on these tools. Formulas help you organize your message. Have you ever sat down to write something and felt like you have to fit an ocean inside of a teacup? You have so much to say. Well, these can help you distill that and organize that message. No, you do not have to reinvent the wheel every time you have an Instagram caption, a blog post, or an email newsletter to turn out. There's formulas. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to eliminate the guesswork. I'm handing over a simple go-to formula to use in your business when it's time to draft copy that turns heads and piques interest. So to break it down, I'm going to show you the 5 steps that I continue to use with the clients and the students that I work with. If you're excited, hit that like button below, and also while you're down there, you're going to see the subscribe button and the bell next to it. If while I talk, you're picking up what I'm putting down, hit that and you'll be first to know when these drop every single Tuesday. So the formula I'm going to teach you is what I call Paris, as in the city, on brand, right? And if you haven't ever heard of it before, it's because I made it up. Well, I riffed on the things that are out there and already working so well. I'll explain as we go. Step number 1 is to identify the problem. People do not quit habits or make a decision without reasons, so we have to give them one. Now, you've probably heard of problem-agitation-solution. Well, I've told my students and attendees at conferences that I've spoken at that essentially this is like the little black dress of copywriting formulas. It is going absolutely nowhere fast. In fact, famed copywriter Dan Kennedy called it the most reliable copywriting formula. He said, when you understand that people are more likely to act to avoid the pain than to get gain, you'll understand how powerful this first formula is. It may be the most reliable sales formula ever invented. Amen. So we're gonna start here. You need to start here because as they work through your website, your reader is looking out for number 1. Everything they read, they're thinking, so what? What does this have to do with me? Now, I work with a lot of artists, creatives, and makers, and one thing that I hear them say over and over again is this: I have a hard time writing about the problem because, Ashlyn, I don't have traditional pain points. And I get it. When you're selling beauty or luxury, it can be hard to figure out what that pain point is. You're not really helping people make more money. You're definitely not curing cancer. In fact, most of my clients and students are selling something that would be considered a luxury. Art, high-end fine art photography or DJ services, destination wedding cakes, creative direction, party subscription boxes, or just something that is beautiful for beauty's sake. Comment below if you've ever felt like this before. Now, if that's you and you've had a hard time before nailing down your pain points, then here's what I want you to do. Think, what is the challenge? Let me show you a couple of examples of this in action. So one example that we have here is Tavia, who is a birth and newborn photographer and educator, and she's really dug into what I teach and picks the problem so well on this services page of hers. Look at this headline right here. Imagine this, it's 18 years from now and you're sending your baby off to college. So she there is picking at that problem that new mamas have, that idea that the days are so short but the years just fly by. Now, another student that I have for you is Emma, and this is the headline on her services page that she wrote for one of her offerings. And I wanted to show you this because both this and the last one that I demonstrated, let's go back over Tavia's here, you'll see that these are a little bit more positively positioned problems or challenges. I wanted to show you those two examples because I think they do such a good job demonstrating that. There's a lot of different ways that you can come at the pain or the problem, or like I said, if we're just going to call it a challenge, but the main thing is that we're starting off with this in our formula. If this is making sense and you're tracking with me, then comment below, copy that so I know that this is helpful. And from there, we move into step 2. Next up, we agitate the problem by talking about what it would be like if this pain, this problem, or this challenge persisted and didn't go away. Here, we want to give a little bit more copy that describes what this is actually like for your prospect. I don't always like that word. It's better to just think your reader, your user, your client, or your customer. Whatever you're calling them, using that client or customer voice hacking research and work that you've done, this is when you pull that out and start saying it right back to them. My copywriting for creatives students know that we spend so much time on that. So this is where you want to pull it back out. The example I have for you to illustrate this is Leah's website. Now, Leah is a beautiful and very talented calligrapher. You can see her offerings here, but what I wanted to show you is actually over on her About page, which is a great place to use these kind of techniques. Now Leah has truly dug in and done so much work. I think she's still even working on some of this, but what I wanted to show you is this sentence right here, and specifically this section. So like I said, this is her About page, but she has even gone in and included some type of this agitation copy here, right there. I'll pause so you can read it on her About page, which I think is beautifully, beautifully done. To stay in the wedding industry for just a moment, this is Desiree's website and her full service and wedding planning package. What I love right here for agitation copy is this line right here, because maybe I can relate to that. Nowhere does it say what you're actually supposed to do with that wedding Pinterest board that you make for years before you get married. And I love that she just straight up called it out right there and agitated that problem a little bit. Bonus tip, and many of you have heard me say this to the creative industry before. Quit putting all your services on one page. Break them up, because there's no way that the customer who's looking at booking you for a $300 floral design package for her brand photography shoot at her house is having the same challenges and problems as the person that is interested in booking you for a $5,000 full package install at a country club wedding. Two very different people. They deserve two very different pages, so you can implement these formulas speaking directly to them. But before we stay too long on this or let them tumble down a depressive spiral, we move on to step 3. And here is where we remind them what they want. For my fellow 90s kids, what they really, really want. Done well, steps 1 through 3, PAR, can be sort of a mini story, which is fun. You've heard me say all the time that story sells, and this is a way that you can weave that in. I talked about finding your 3 brand stories in my last video. I will link to that below so you can be sure to watch it after this one. And if you are doing that client and customer voice hacking like I talked about in step 2, this is where you're going to want to pull it out again. It should serve as a never-ending suite of blog ideas, content ideas, opt-in ideas, and of course, copywriting ideas. So for this step 3, reminding them of what they really want, I want you to dig deep. Ask that so what question several times and get to the core of what they want. And if you're thinking, I've heard these steps before, I'm gonna shake it up here with something I like to do. Add interest, which I like to do with a fact. Now, you've probably heard it said before as you've studied sales and marketing for your creative small business that we buy with our emotions first and then back that up with the rationale behind it. The easiest way I can just illustrate that point quickly for you is when you have those chocolate chip cookies in the kitchen, you really want one, so you justify it. You think, you know what, I walked to the mailbox today, I deserve the cookie. Bad example, but this is what happens. You decide with your emotions first, and then you come up with the rationale to make that make sense. So here in step 4, adding interest with a fact, I want you to engage them here with something of interest. Maybe it is fresh information that they've never heard about this topic or this problem or challenge that they have. Maybe it's something kind of counterintuitive or borderline shocking. Maybe it's just something unexpected, but whatever it is, it needs to relate back to this argument that we're building in the Paris copywriting formula. Some ways I do this are with a statistic or a number, taking a stand or having an interesting position on something, or reporting on something that you've seen. To get you thinking of this, here are a few client and student examples that have worked really well. Here we are on Lauren's website. Lauren has this gorgeous product called the Tiny Tracker. I actually really recommend it. It was helpful for me. She sent one along. So what I wanted to show you specifically is this section of her website. What I like here is even this headline, nope, that's the point. And she here is giving you specific information about why she doesn't do something a certain way. So this tracker that she has developed is pure paper. There's no iPhone app. So she talks about that here. Now, one way that she could even better this is giving me a little bit more like some data points, maybe how much time moms lose to their phones, or, you know, some babies and screens or something like that, something to continue to make her argument. But she does a great job there. And I also wanted to point out this super cute micro copy that she has over on the side. Way to go, Lauren. She's done such a good job. She also wrote us a note to share that her sales increased 215% a year, orders up by 200%, and visitor traffic up by 125%. She is killing it. Now, next up is Ashley Fernandez. Now, let me show you how she is putting a stake in the ground with an interesting attention-getting point. Your eye has probably already gone to it, and this is before she's ever gotten into this service and offering, which is through coaching and group coaching. But before she ever gets there, she jolts us into interest with this line right here. She also said she added $2,000 in revenue a month after launching this beautiful new website and copy. So proud of her. Now, to wrap this up, step 5, we're going to present the solution. Tell me the way that you can work with me to alleviate this challenge or this problem in my life. Michelle launched this brilliant 3-day visual branding service. And see how before she ever gets to the product and the description, she has all this anchoring copy up here before. That is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. She did that really well before she ever got to the point of explaining what this one-on-one business intensive is and what all she includes in it. I will include a link to this page and the other ones that I've talked about so you can see these examples. So at this point in this Paris formula, you've made the sales argument before you've ever introduced the price. Many writers and advertisers have tread the sales water before us, and they have found formulas that just plain and simple work. Whether it is a Black Friday promotion you're putting out there, or an Instagram caption, or a sales page. A great formula can boost your productivity when you're writing, and you know that efficiency is one of my love languages. Now, no copywriting formula can guarantee that your service or product will sell. For things that really work, you need to do what I talk about all the time and do the research. You need to understand your audience like the back of your hand. Now, if you liked this video, hit that like button below, give it a thumbs up, and also hit that subscribe button. Both of those help me out so very much. I know that this was a lot of information, but I hope that it at least gave you some clarity. Even if you can't hire a copywriter, I want you to know enough to be dangerous about writing your services page, or at least freshening it up a bit so your website words are pulling their weight. Now, ultimately, to be persuasive and attention-grabbing in your copywriting, you need to know how to tell stories using formulas like these in your brand voice. I have an entire multiple-page guide on figuring out how to find your brand's voice and put it on paper. It's free, it's ready. Just look down below and you can grab that and get going on it. And once you're using things like this formula and your brand voice, you are on your way to crafting an unforgettable brand. For 8 more tips on that, then just stay tuned and watch the next video. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in.